Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka Hanarappel, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your undergod, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. Hello everybody, it's me, Sashka. How are you today? So I'm doing a solo podcast today, but I'm doing it a little bit differently because, I like to do things differently. Yes, we don't do things normal. No. So when I first got onto Facebook, and started with online marketing, and this is about 5-6 years ago, I often heard the term masterminds and retreats. Now, this kind of boggled my mind because for me, my perception of a mastermind was a gathering of rich and influential masterminds who were planning a world takeover. Now, admittedly, this could highly be influenced by my love for crime and mystery, James Bond, The Kingsman, and etc. So my mind goes apeshit. And when I heard of retreats, I honestly thought folks were at war retreating from something bad. I didn't know that this is this luxury and to retreat somewhere. I'm like, the war's upon us. We need to retreat. I know, my imagination is crazy. Literally, when people speak to me, I visually see everything. So masterminds and retreats have been a bit of a baffle for me since being online. I can't say that I'm a fan of the terminology mastermind and retreats, but I use it because marketing-wise, it's what the public knows. Sometimes you just don't want to screw with the brain. It's like when you're trying to find a title for yourself, and some people come up with fantastic titles, like really creative, but you're like, I still don't know what you do. So, just keep it simple. So when someone says to me, what do you do? And you're in layman world, you do it in layman terms. You're like, yeah, business consultant ad agency. And they go, ah. And then you go woo and you go, I now brand your soul. And they're going, excuse me? Is that going to hurt? So you can do it both. You don't have to keep one or the other, but I try to, adapt a little bit, little chameleon. Now, despite my crazy perceptions. Now, in today's podcast, I'm wanting to delve a little more into this world of masterminding and retreats and kind of give you my perception and how I am running mine. Maybe it sparks a few ideas in your mind of how you want to do things. And this is why it's a little bit special today. It's not solo. I'm inviting a guest on board too, who I have invited as a special guest to speak and do a day, maybe even more, at my upcoming mastermind in November in the Tyrolean Alps in Austria. Now, typically I've come to see masterminds revolve a lot around business, strategy, leadership, mindset, taking over the world. Okay, scrap that one. That was just me going on a tangent again. But I find this fascinating that a group of people come together who know nothing of one another, but have the desire and will to get ahead and dive into like 3, 6, 12-month masterminds, which starts off sometimes just with a retreat, just in inverted commas. There's a lot of shit that goes into planning that. Now, I was always scared shitless of going on things like that. Now, as much as I'm an extrovert, let me tell you, going to a room with people that don't know my crazy-ass mind and my processes, I scare a lot of people. People just go, holy moly, woman, where you come from? But Jesus out of you. So I had to learn to also adapt to different groups. Now, I personally haven't been on a mastermind because it scared me shitless. So I decided, you know what, I'll just create my own and go with my own flow. Now, I'm running my 3rd retreat this year, but with a twist. In other words, it's kicking off with the mastermind, which includes the retreat. We're not retreating from anything, and we will not take over the world. We will be creating new worlds. How exciting is that? Dun, dun, dun. And then we delve into the 12-month mastermind. Now, 12-month is like, oh my God, isn't that too long? You try and build a business in 3 months. You can start with your mindset in the first few months, but building a business, no way, Jose. I don't believe that you can do it in less than 12 months. There's a lot of stuff that goes into building a business and brand. especially if you want to influence generations. There's your messaging, your branding, your marketing, which is sales and advertising, the promotion, how you're going to run it, how you're going to set up a team, all these different things that gives you your focus and your clarity, especially for creative visionaries, because you're all over the place with all your crazy ideas. You need to settle down. And I always say we need boundaries, because creative visionaries need boundaries, because when you don't have them, that's when you're all over the place. When you have boundaries, then you know, oh, I can push the envelope over here. But if you have nothing, you don't know what envelopes you're pushing. You know that saying, pushing the envelope? Well, I learned that one. Anyway, now as much as I'd love to think that I know all the answers, I don't, which is why I have not only my client, but also, and this is the most important, my friend, who I genuinely consider as a very, very close friend, because she gets me. You know, not many people get me, except my mom. She thinks I'm totally crazy, and my sister and my cousins. She's become a very close friend, and I'm excited to welcome her on board for the retreat, the brand building retreat, which kicks off on the 1st to the 5th of November and annually happens in June in the Tyrolean Alps. And she will be assisting us with the following. Now, as I said, I don't have all the answers. And one of the answers that I don't have for is working with energy. Now, whenever people meet me, they go, oh my God, your energy is on fire. And I'm like, seriously? Because inside I feel completely normal. But something is shining from the outside. Our next guest is Courtney, and she's UK's leading 5D mentor for visionary believers and leaders. And the way she works is, and this is the way I describe it. She'll describe it otherwise, but this is the way I describe it. I call her Yoda, or Professor X from X-Men. Now, she knows how to nurture your superpower energies that you've seen as a weakness, and she gets it all fired up to its full potential. Because when you're a creative visionary, you've got so many ideas and so much energy, and then you tone it down. And she shows you how to manage it and nurture those superpower energies so that you're just on fire, but you're not emotional up and emotional downs. You know, when you have the ups and downs, but she speaks about her integrity line. I love the integrity line. So energy is a big thing, folks, and this is what we're going to be dealing with. So I'm going to pull out of you your life purpose during the kickoff at the retreat for the mastermind before we go into creating and building your business and brand that's going to influence generations. But Joe's going to be working on your energy. Now, energy has a lot of facets. So I'm going to kick things off here, and I'd love to introduce the gorgeous Courtney from Inner Synergy with my first question. Why energy? Why is this important for leaders, and in particular for creative visionary leaders? Hello, Joe.
Sashka, what a welcome. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I'm so excited to have you here. It's like, Joe, we need to get on a podcast. She's like, okay, let me just take my diary. She's like, what are we talking about? I'm like, we're going with the flow. We just do the flow. Make sure we keep it to 20 minutes because our attention spans are low. But I really want to get people excited, especially if they're planning their own masterminds or retreats or events and workshops, not to be alone, because we're both about, we don't rise alone, we rise together. So when you're organizing things, you don't have to have all the answers. You can collaborate with someone, and I'm very excited. I'm saying very excited, but you've heard me say it so often, like I'm really excited to have you on board and speaking, not just speaking, but doing a workshop. So you're going to be working with the participants around energy. So lead us into your world, Yoda, about the world of energy.
World of energy. Well, first of all, I did like you are very funny, by the way. And when you said, is it going to hurt? The retreat and the mastermind, I thought it was quite, I love that. Because I have to confess here, I have been on 2 of your retreats now. And that's how I met Sashka. She branded my soul. And I better not say whether it hurt or not, because you may not get any clients. But
it does hurt.
It does hurt. Creatives need to be ripped apart and be made a little bit uncomfortable, but then we put you back together, don't we? That's what we'll do on the retreat. So it was fascinating in June to come back after the previous retreat and see, one, how I'd grown, but how the same questions, the same methodology was bringing out a deeper level of me. But I've seen Sashka's intuitive side grow as well as her practical side, and that has fascinated me. And she really did go with this very calm, very strong flow, which I would say that you were definitely on your integrity line, Mrs. It was, we all said this. So as the group, we felt very held. We were guided. It was like we were being in a beautiful, comfortable boat going down a river. There was a few little rocky patches where she would push us out of our comfort zones, but then we were back in the boat. And what got me thinking is it was an amazing mix of women. We all rose together. I got so much feedback about myself and my clients. But what I saw was all the energy moving between the group, because I can't not. It's me, that's what I do every day. That's how I live my life, by understanding it. So I was so honored when Sashka said, "Do you want to come on the next one?" Because straight away, I can then put into place what my brain had been doing through the retreat that I attended. So what I would like to do, and this is what I'll bring to the retreat, and I haven't actually done it in this way before, so it's exciting for me, is to really help people understand, as you said, Sashka, what they're bringing into the room with them. And I think the people that both you and I work with, so creative visionaries, and I work with creative believers, they have the most incredible energy and the creative ability, and they've usually got these fantastic visions on the go. They're very good at looking at themselves. They've been through a ton of self-development, but often they're at a point where they just cannot see the wood from the trees with themselves. They are just not owning up to how incredible they are. Mm. They've humbled themselves so much that they are almost too humble. They've almost retreated, like you said. And what I found when you were talking about what we would do this time, the first thing that popped up, because I try not to be too prepared, because I like to say what could be said in the moment, is what we both saw within that group is how we all reacted to the other person differently. So was there 10 of us, 9 of us?
7.
Was there 7?
With me, yeah.
Okay, it felt bigger. See, our energy felt bigger.
We're taking over the world. No, sorry, creating.
But what we all admitted at the end and through it was there was probably one person that really daunted us and one person that really we reacted to. And all the rest we got on very well with. Now, we all know, don't we, that when you, or most of us know, or all of us, that when you work with a group, every person in that group is an aspect of us. Which is great, because there's going to be the ones you completely bond with, the soul sisters or soul brothers. Then the one that's the reactionary, the disruptor, I think some people call them. So what I thought would be a great exercise is to actually, at the beginning of the retreat, is to actually own up and say who's the main person who daunts them and who's the person they're reacting to most, and get it all out in the open, get the self-expression up. So we can see, one, who we are in the world, who we've walked in the door as. And then by admitting to it, you're actually diffusing the energy around, one, your reaction to the person, and really whoever you're daunted by is just your magnificence that you're not owning up to.
Wow.
So you can clear that all out on the first day. Then how great we could do some sort of revisit on the last day of probably where we're all probably in a similar boat, that we're not reacting to anyone, we're not daunted, because we're all seeing each other's unique magnificence. So that to me is a concise answer to why I love energy work, because it's helped me to see all my aspects of me and own what I need to own, and all the, what I call the outer self sides of energy that usually sabotage us and hold us back. But also you see your magnificence at the same time. So it's owning all aspects and not judging, not trying to get rid of, but integrating. And then you build a beautiful integrity line. You can travel in a beautiful fluctuating way, in a sustainable way, to sustain the energy that you come into the room with, and not blast it at people, or not hide it, not shrink.
I love that. I mean, all those different facets in inverted commas normal world, people would think we're schizophrenic, because I'm admitting to my many facets. But actually all those facets, when you admit to them, you really see how much potential you have. You're not just, you know, that I know before, when Joe offered me a free session, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Nobody really gets me. Let's see what happens over here. And it wasn't that I don't trust people. It's just that I don't trust because you don't get me. So Joe did work on me, and I was like, oh my freaking, Joe gets me. Oh my God, it's Yoda. And I had such a ball, because my energy I stopped seeing my energy as my weakness. And like you were saying, where you're so much in humble, I'm very grounded. But then I'd have my drama moments. I know as a kid, I was always told, oh my God, you're such a drama queen. And I'd be like, so I went through life going, I'm such a drama queen. So I started dropping that and seeing it as my strength as opposed to my weakness, and using that energy in different situations. So what is, and I say this often, is that I'm only starting to learn about this because of you, but understanding it more because there's a terminology for it. I mean, you don't need a terminology. I've always just felt it, but now it's like, oh my God, it's so exotic. So going from 3D to 5D. So most of the attendees, when they come to the Mastermind and the Retreat, they're in their 3D. What is the 3D and how are you bringing them into 5D? And apparently there are many more Ds.
Well, the 3D and the 5D are really the third dimension and the fifth dimension. And we are moving into literally a different dimension. So it's a very exciting time on the planet. And many people know this, but it is still a small minority. Mm. We've been living in the third and the fourth dimension, which is, in very basic terminology, is a more material world. We were a lot denser. We used to move more with our minds. We weren't connected to our bodies as much because it was so monotonous, so mundane. We did the 9 to 5. Certain things were satisfying, i.e. getting through your day and tick boxing it, going to the odd party, earning money. But there was a level of discontent, which is why we've all disconnected slightly and then needed some form of satisfaction, which we tend to get from the outside world, whether that's food, that's drugs, sex, money, job, gym. We've all done it, haven't we? We've had some sort of obsession somewhere that gave us some sort of satisfaction. The 5D world is all about, we're letting go of time. Everything happens in the now. It's simultaneous. The 3D was more, there was a past, there was a now, and there was a future. We had the 5-year plan, blah, blah, blah. It was very, wasn't it, sequence, order.
Are we also very much in our emotions?
The 5D will be more so because we're becoming more sensitive, yeah. Mm. We're going into sense. We're going to be able to empathize more. We will feel more, far more than we did in the 3D. So we're becoming less dense and we're going to be in our bodies more. Life is calling us back to our bodies, which is going to be exciting, but we're going through the birthing phase, should we say. So it is a bit like coming out of your egg. We've all been in our eggs and now our shell, someone's tapped it as if we're like a boiling egg. So they've tapped the top of us. We're going, oh, there's a bit of, oh, that's actually quite a good analogy. I don't know where that came from. There you go, intuition on the flow. That's actually quite good, isn't it? Because
that is brilliant.
It's like our crown, isn't it? It's literally being cracked. I'll use this again. See what you bring out of me. You bring the creativity out of me. Yay! So really, our shells are literally coming away, isn't it? This does work. It really does work. So our shells are coming off. And so we are the boiling egg, aren't we? Just there in all our glory. And do you think that actually the yolk inside, that's the magnificence? So we are now, without the shell, without the hardened shell, we can now sense in the world. And we will have different connections. Everything is happening simultaneously because there's no time, there's no past, there's no present, there's no future. You're just in the now. There is a present, but it's now, and then it's now, then the next moment's now. So it's all happening where you are. There's no waiting for something to come. If you want the 5-year plan, you're going to wait a long time. You'll wait 50 years plus because you're waiting for it to come. You have to start living it in the now. So this is why people, I believe, and I would like to train people to understand who they are because they're going to need to know. They run an incredible system that they're going to have to bring into their life and their business in the 5th dimensional world that we're all moving towards. This isn't a choice. We're going anyway.
Yeah, no, not happening. So with Creative Visionaries, what I've noticed is that with all the ideas, I don't know why, but maybe it's just my people, the Creative Visionaries, is that they're very... Despite all the richness and abundance of ideas and imagination and humor and playfulness, and there's just so much there, a whole colorful world, what holds them back is that they don't believe in themselves. There's a huge thing that they don't believe in themselves because there's no evidence of proof that the ideas that they have are actually needed and wanted. And as a byproduct, there's a lack of money. And money, not solely, but slowly becomes a focus where it's not coming. And how is energy, if you're living in the now in 5D, how is that changing? How will that change for 3D to 5D for visionaries?
Visionaries and creatives usually have the most incredible intuition and creativity and sensitivity to the world. They also have a lot of pain usually, which is because you have to have the polar opposite. They've come in, I call them old souls, so they've come in with a lot of old baggage to clear through in this life. It allows them to go shooting high up and have these incredible ideas and visions that most of the people around them probably won't get. So doubt is a big thing. Procrastination is a big thing. So there's a lot of programming that comes in this life where a visionary and a creative and a sensitive has usually been slowed or stopped or shut down. So you think of a creative who is trying to create is also going to have the self-doubt. So that's hell of a high, then hell of a low. And what I've found, myself and many of the clients I've worked with, have gone, this is why I created the integrity line, because they've been, if you think about mountains, they're going up to the top of the mountain, whack down to the bottom of the mountain multiple times through the day, which is exhausting. They'll have the idea, they tap into their intuition. They don't have the depth and the balance to balance that out because they're often reacting in the pain that they've got. So what I teach them to do is find a flow so that they are literally in the middle of the mountain on a beautiful walkway where they just meander up and down. So they will still move through the highs and the lows, but in a more sustainable way. So then their physical body won't get exhausted, often just not eating properly. Creatives often don't eat or don't drink water and don't do the practicals. They don't look after their finances. They either live in the creative world or down in the depths. This isn't all of them. I don't want to
generalize.
Yeah. But this is, again, I found this as well as practical as I thought I was. I was, again, loving the peaks, milking the peaks for too long because I was finally up, taking a bit of action, then I was exhausted. And my physical energy would come all the way back down. So I've found a whole system to balance myself. And by doing that, I'm able to then train others in what I call now the integrity line, where you are so balanced that you know when something comes in that's out of your integrity. So you know that when you hit that intuitive high, when you start to milk it, and you just gradually come back down, and you're then back on your sustainable ledge, as I call it. So it's a fantastic place. So you literally default out at, say, contentment or satisfaction eventually. So you're always happy to be there, and you always know that you'll come back. So you never lose yourself in the lows, and you don't milk the highs as much. So you become more a sustainable, practical creative who is living an incredible life.
Love that.
Then the money will flow as well, because you're in a sustainable frequency that is the same frequency as money. Whereas the highs and lows do not sustain the energy you need to bring the money in. So everything comes in at the sustainable frequency. It's a quicker 5D way of working.
That's really cool.
It is cool.
We'll put in a visual or maybe some videos, because Joe has a shitload of videos and diagrams and everything that we can maybe link to in the show notes as well. Just to give you, if you're a visual person, just to be able to see what Joe means with an integrity line and the ups and downs and the, sustaining the meander on the integrity line. I'm going to say something because I feel it's that way. It doesn't mean that you feel that way, but what your opinion is to that. I feel that with creative visionaries, being one myself, is that I lose focus and consistency and clarity when I don't have a purpose. And purpose being not your profession, but purpose being why you're here. What are you actually doing here on earth? Believing in that and believing in the purpose that you were put here for, which just by chance you can actually use as your business. But you could actually be any profession and not the one that you're currently exercising or have always been in. But there are different professions that you could exercise. The profession just amplifies your purpose. And how the energy assists and co-creates with the purpose to keep on the integrity line and that meandering. So or you recognize the patterns of, I've gone on a tangent up there and I'm milking it, and then I shoot back down. not solely because of, but I know where my purpose is. So I'm able to recognize and go, oh, I was on that tangent, but that had nothing to do with actually what I and who I am, and come back to who I am and the energy that I am now, and know, oh, hang on a moment. I was practicing to be a doctor, but actually I'm a waitress. That's actually, you know, what I'm doing and my purpose type of thing. So I bring myself back down to, in inverted commas, reality.
Yes. And I always like that you say, Sashka, that we can have more than one purpose. We haven't got this, we don't have to have this massive drive to have one vision or one purpose. And I like what you're saying, because what I did when I actually really discovered the beginning of the integrity line was I had to stop. And even the only thing that I had left in my life at one point about 5 years ago, which is when this work intensified, was my purpose, which is still what I'm doing now. But I had to let go of everything. I was exhausted, and I stopped the doing and I began just being. And that was in nature and with animals. And because I cut everything back, and I do this frequently, I cut everything, I just stop everything and I go back to the space to create new form. When you allow yourself to keep going back to your own space and just being, that's when you actually find your own default. And when you do that enough, and everyone will do this differently, you actually realize again you're enough. And when you find your own default line and you literally come back inside yourself, and then you know how to operate in the world and come back in, that's when you always come back onto your integrity line. That place is enough, even without a purpose. And then, like you say, you bring yourself, then you go, ooh, right, what excites me? And it is usually more than one thing. So 5 years ago, I birthed something. It's like, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to do? Now that I'd found me, I thought I can do this the rest of my life. We aren't here to do anything, apparently, but just be us. And I thought, actually, yeah, I could be quite happy. However, I'm now getting a passion for life and an excitement for life. And so I decided on a bigger mission, which is still within what I'm doing. It was always going to be about energy, but it was, well, let me jump straight up to there. 5 years later, I think I'm ready. But there's so many different purposes and passions within the bigger mission that I know it will take me my whole life to complete it, but I'm going to have fun every day doing it. So you're right. I help people find or guide or lead people, as I say, the horses and I lead people back to their integrity line. And in that place, they may do a certain purpose for 6 months. And then, as you said, they might then go, well, actually, this isn't quite right, because the energy on the planet is changing so quickly. I'm seeing that a lot. People are deciding one day and it's definitely right, and within a month it's not. The people around them who they're working with, it's not right. And that isn't wrong, but if you learn the self-expression of knowing exactly how you feel, you know when the cycles in life, you're moving out of those cycles in life, you're not flowing with them, and something's not quite right, your barometer will tell you. You can express yourself and move to the next cycle, move to the next purpose, or bring a purpose into what you're doing.
Yeah, and create out of your purpose a profession, because it doesn't always have to be what's typically known as. You create your own thing, you create your own space.
Absolutely.
All right. So we could talk about this forever. I've clearly gone over 20 minutes, but you can find out more in the show notes about Jo. I'll put the link for the brand building retreat and the mastermind that you can read up about, and you can join Jo and myself. Also, you can find out more about Jo in her Facebook group, as well as on all social media. Your Facebook group is called Reconnect with the Herd.
To the Herd.
To the Herd. Reconnect to the Herd. I'll put the link in as well in the show notes. And a beautiful photo of Jo as well, so you can see her happy face. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Yes, and if this is feeling exciting for you and it's feeling, oh my God, I think these are my people, they actually get me. They're talking business and energy and woo-woo and groundedness and reality and logic and irrationality and creativity and visionary, then we're your people. We're your people. Come and join us. It's from the 1st to the 5th of November when we kick off with the mastermind, which includes the retreat. And the mastermind goes for 12 months. And there is an opportunity to win my famous branding package if you join the mastermind, kicking off with the brand building retreat. So very, very exciting. It's to the value of €5,000. Very exciting. So, all these wonderful listeners, if you love this, love it, like it, share it, pass it on, and remember to be the change that you want to see in the world. Thank you, Jo, for being here with us. Professor X.
Thank you, Sashka. Appreciate it. Look forward to the retreat.
Yes, it'll be fun. It'll be absolutely fun. I know it's going to be fun and very creative. Thank you, everyone. Have an awesome day. Love you lots. Bye-bye. Dang, that was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.